welcome everyone. How you doing, everyone? Does anybody have any questions? If you'd like to add a question into the chat, if you are in the middle of brainstorming your idea, if you have questions about patents, trademarks, copyrights, licensing, manufacturing, marketing. I just got off the call with a really interesting public relations marketing guy. He freelances and he's got a lot to offer. Social media. We could talk about anything that you'd like to be able to help you and your idea. There we go. All right. Well, I'll start off with Knowlton, your question. There are people in the organization in the industrial field replace power units and such things as backhoes, trailer-mounted diesel engine-driven pumps, and natural gas compression. Any interest? I think that it's relative to what you're trying to do with it. If you have a patent issued, maybe there's a way for you to go to the companies that are within the industry and see if they're interested in possibly buying your patent or licensing the rights to it. And they would kind of work on developing it and distributing it in that way. Or if you're looking to possibly make a proof, kind of a prototype for it, be able to make sure that it works properly and possibly manufacture it yourself, where you turn it into a business and be able to make them and sell them yourself or build a brand around it. So yes, I think that when you have something that's not just a simple kitchen gadget, might be a little bit more complicated to kind of get something developed to be able to show it. Sometimes when people, I'm working on a wind turbine generator, we worked on 3D animation. We worked on smaller miniature versions of the invention. So I think one of the most important things is to be able to show your idea, at least not only just to say it, but actually be able to show it in a way where you can communicate it without you having to really say it. So that's kind of my take on that. Let's see, Barb is here. Let's get you up on stage here. How you doing, Barb?
Hello.
How you doing? What's your question?
Okay, my question is, so I have an idea at this point. Is it best to try and figure out how much my prototype or my end result is going to cost before I get to see if there's any like interest in potential buyers, like any customers down the road? Or do I need to make sure that there will be a demand for it first before?
That's a good question. What I like to do when somebody comes to me with an idea is I almost try to be as intuitive as I can possibly be to almost see how it's going to be used out in the market.
Okay.
Right? And then I kind of go back to where you are and then figure out what you need to do to get to where you want to go.
Okay.
So what does something similar possibly cost around? That's kind of a target of where you need to be,
Okay.
right? And then kind of work backwards from there. So to start with, just like I mentioned to Knowlton before, you want to figure out from the start what sort of materials you think it might be used in, or what type of materials to use, who your demographic is, what sort of distribution channel. Sometimes people show me things that they're really almost like going to manufacture, and then they're just selling to maybe hospitals or office buildings. That's not necessarily a consumer product. It's more industrial, commercial type. So you want to identify that. But one thing that happens, Barb, is a lot of people come to me and they have this huge, like, it's one interesting thing that's in addition to what's already existing, but they put the whole thing on it with the new thing.
Okay.
And what happens is you have to manufacture or you have to figure out that whole thing
Yeah.
when sometimes that little attachment
Okay.
could be all you need. So, like luggage, right? You come
Mm-hmm.
up with this luggage and it has a new feature. So maybe you and I both have luggage, but now there's this new feature. So do I have to buy a brand new piece of luggage when I have one already? But that piece, maybe it's a way for me to take that attachment or that extra piece and
Mm-hmm.
be able to put it on any other luggage that already exists, because then I'm not limited to one. Maybe you like the luggage with the attachment. It's a great feature, but you don't like the colors of the
Yeah.
luggage, or you don't like the zipper, or you like it soft and it's hard. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of variables to what it is to figure out. So that's why sometimes it's easier to kind of just put an attachment. So
Yeah.
those are the things that I kind of break down and figure out as I'm developing my idea. But it's important to know what it's going to cost.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're manufacturing it, definitely when you're manufacturing it, but when you're trying to license it, sometimes, and I know we've mentioned the word licensing a couple times, but um, sometimes these companies want to know that you at least did your due diligence and have an understanding of what it is that or how it what you're going to make it with. Is it
Yeah.
rubber? Is it fabric? Is it plastic? And not that we're experts in every single product, especially since we're brand new. It might be one product that we have, and a company's asking you for what it might be. You don't really know. That's not your business. When I see something, I can kind of understand it. So they probably could too. But the more information that you have, the better options you have along the way to figure out what things are going to cost. Was that did I leave any part of your question out?
Yep. No, I think you answered it all.
It's good to just, like, I was talking to somebody today and they were thinking about manufacturing their product. And I said, whatever it is, think about 5Xing it. So if it costs $5, it's $25
Mhm.
retail. This way you have some margin to be able to pay layers. You want to pay a salesperson, then you have marketing, then you have overhead, then you have to pay yourself and the company and all. So you want to be able to have some margin there to be able to make it so it's worth your while. If you're going to license it to earn royalties, and licensing means that, let's say you come up with an idea and you see that your product could align nicely with another product that's maybe on the shelf. So you flip those over and you see the package of those company names that are on there, and those are the ones you call. And most of the time, if you have a good video of a prototype, and sometimes they require a fully issued patent, sometimes they're okay with patent pending, and sometimes they don't care at all about patents. But for the most part, I would say that a patent issued is the most solid, because they know that it went through all the toughness of getting a patent. And
Diligence and yeah.
right, and objections and all that, and now all of a sudden you have an issued patent. And really, Barb, that's what's going to give them a competitive advantage in the market
Okay.
for the time that they're going to license it, and most of the time it's exclusive. So I think
Mhm.
those are some fine points, and if you want to ask more questions, then please do.
I'll wait my turn, but I got more questions.
Okay, all right, we'll see you soon.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, I see Nicholas has one. So set design criteria to better define invention. Nicholas, you asked the question there. I think it's important to figure out what your idea looks like, and as much as you can get as close as possible to what it looks like and how it functions is really important. So you can either take things that already exist and kind of put it together, or you might have to start from scratch where you have a CAD file that's made. Then you might make a prototype, a 3D prototype. Sometimes you could take it and go to a seamstress. Maybe you have the schematics or like the diagram of what, right, of what it might be, and then you bring it to a seamstress and let them cut and sew it for you. So there's a lot of ways to do it, but I always try to find a way to get as close as possible to the real thing. And there's a lot of things that already exist out there. So I want to take things that already exist and make it easier for me to put together. So hopefully that answered your question. All right, Fidel. How you doing, Fidel? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Brian. Thank you.
So tell me what your question is.
Uh, Basically, I'm trying to learn more, Brian, about what we discussed on the call before. I'm working on making the pitch video so we can. I think on one of the links that you gave me, I found a company that's open for. Uh, I mean, it gives you the start on the website it's open for ideas.
Yep.
So I'm working on making the video for now and uh, keep learning as much as I can.
It's good. So what's your question, Fidel? If you want to discuss your the video, I think is really important. Look, I know a lot of people are into sell sheets and making a prototype and taking a picture, but I could say that it's very easy for somebody, a potential licensee, if that's what you're trying to do, to be
Mhm.
able to open up a video and watch a 1.5 2-minute video and see if it's something that they're interested, that you pique their interest with, to continue a conversation. Sometimes there's a product that is in motion, and if you're just showing me a picture, a static picture, I'm not going to be able to, as on this side looking to possibly do a deal with you, I'm not really going to understand what that product does or how it works. So
Yes, sir.
that's why I feel like a video, people are used to watching videos. I always like to upload it on YouTube or Vimeo, make it unlisted and share a link. This way, who you're showing it to doesn't necessarily have to download something or the format is off or whatever. And you know that it's unlisted, so it's not like it's in the public. It's only who you're showing the link to.
Mhm.
Look, I think it's just important to be able to communicate your prototype or your finished product with people. If
Yes,
you're
sir.
looking to manufacture it yourself, then I'm working with an inventor. He just got his pre-production sample hot off the press, hot off the factory press, and now while they're in production, he is now working on the website, making videos, doing a photo shoot, telling his story about why he came up with the invention, and he's going to build a company out of it. So he has the one product; it's a tool, and he's going to find other things that are interesting to be able to add to his tool line. And when people come to his website, they'll see his tool and other ones, and then he'll put it on Amazon and Walmart.com and be able to build a business from it. And maybe it's residual income for him to start, and maybe it'll turn into his full-time job. So that's some of my take. But yes, Fidel, I think having a way for you to communicate your message with your product is different than you pitching it. It kind of lets you tell your story
Uh-huh.
in a different way, and you can explain it to people. But sometimes when people pitch me an idea, Fidel,
Yes, sir.
sometimes I paint the picture in my head, and it's of what I want to paint the picture of.
Mhm.
And I don't know what yours is, but I'm just picturing it the way that I see it. And sometimes I could be right, sometimes I'm completely off.
Yes, sir.
So taking it out of your head and being able to put it in front of you in some way to be able to communicate with somebody, I think is really important.
Yes, sir. I agree.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you,
Fidel,
Brian.
no problem. We'll keep in touch. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right, let's see. How to manage the cost of drafting and maintaining patents. What does a typical cost schedule look like over the life of a patent? So, to manage the cost of drafting and maintaining patents. So, if you're talking about drafting costs, you can have a patent attorney or a patent agent, or you can have a patent drafting service make up the images that you need, the pictures or the illustrations that you need for the patent. They vary. Oh, Nicholas is coming up. There he is.
Hey, Brian.
What's up, Nicholas? How are you?
Thank you for having me on
Of
the show
course.
tonight.
So let me understand your question. I kind of answered the drafting. It varies. I mean, some companies or people, freelancers, might charge you $75 to $150 per page of drafting. You know, most of the time when you're working with a patent attorney or agent and you're filing a patent, it's kind of all baked in, included in the price. So I haven't really looked at it in that way. Sometimes they'll share with you what their charge is and what additional charges might be for drafting, which most of the time they'll just use their own service. As far as the schedule of the life of a patent, it's tough. It gets harder as the years go by. So a utility patent is 20 years, and a design patent is 15 years. What I really like is that design patents, there's no maintenance fees. Remember, a design patent is only ornamental. So it's only just the way it looks, and all you have is the title to really describe it. So it's not the strongest, but it'll give you effective enough intellectual property protection. Number one, to be able to call it your own, to capture that ornamental look, and be able to do what you want. If you're trying to license a design patent, it can still happen, but utility patents are a lot stronger because they have the claims in it.
Yeah, yeah, and there's perceived value to be derived from that, right? And it gets more costly because the assumption is if it's being maintained, there's revenue coming from it, right? It should be a growing market, so they try to dip into that, correct?
They start, if you want to look at it that way,
Yeah.
yeah. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, as you get to I think it's the 15th or 17th year, it starts to get into more expensive maintenance fees, and by then either you're making money with the idea, or you're just kind of moving on and letting it expire because
Or
you're
have
not
sold
doing
it,
anything. Yeah,
or have sold it.
yeah.
So on the drafting side, for someone who would write the patent lawyer, some type of outline and content, and then they would organize around that, correct, the language around the claims and scope of it. Does that would help with that?
That's what they do. Look, I have 15 issued patents, and I have many that didn't go through, and I wouldn't attempt to write them myself. I'm sure that, look, with when we put our minds to something, we can do anything we want. There's certain things, like, you know, if you're going to a doctor and God forbid something happens or something's wrong, you want to go to a specialist, right? You don't want to
Yeah.
diagnose yourself. So I feel like when I'm coming up with an idea, it's a business. I want to be able to make sure that I'm protecting it in a way, the best possible way that I could. This way I have more options down the road if I did want to license it, or if I wanted to manufacture it. I put it on Amazon and somebody rips it off. At least I have some protection to take them down, which Amazon has done in an instant when they notice my patent compared to somebody that didn't have one.
Yeah.
So Nicholas, I just found, so it's 3.5 years. This is for the utility patent, right? 3.5 years, 7.5, 11.5, and the 11 years into your patent is $7,700 to maintain it, to keep it going. If you don't maintain it, then it becomes abandoned. Yep,
Yeah.
it becomes abandoned, and yes, in the public, so anybody can make it at that point.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
No problem. You have any other questions, or you good?
Oh, I'm good for now. Thanks. I'm sure more. Well, maybe one more. How do you ideate? How do you get inspired? Where do you get your different thoughts from, looking at things differently than people have?
It's funny because I've kind of used this line before. It's with things that annoy me. It's things that, like, I'm doing something and I'm like, why am I doing this? It should be done like this. Or I people watch a lot. I'm at the airport, I'm at dinner, I'm driving, I'm thinking, I'm in office settings, I'm doing different things, and I see what's going on, and I'm like, let me take that and let me just try it. Like, you got to capture the idea right away and be able to figure out if it's something that makes sense, and then Google it, be descriptive about it, look at the images and see if there's things that exist already. And most of the time, I find things that are too close and I'm like, doesn't look like a great market for it.
Yeah.
Or, you know what, there's too many variations. I'm just going to be another one similar to what's already existing out there. But then there's some that it's like, oh, that might be good. That might be good. And then I beat it up a little bit and I make a prototype and I try it and I ask questions and I think about what it's going to cost and what people are going to pay. And those are kind of the questions that I have going in my mind. When you say ideate, like all that happens very quickly. Sometimes people take a long time to go through that, but when you're in the zone and you keep doing this over and over again, and we're the ones, all the people that are on here, we're the ones that do this. We're the ones that at some point stopped and said, maybe I got something here, right? Other people, it's the woulda, coulda, shouldas. They'll talk to you about it till all that, but we're the ones. We are the chosen ones, right? We're the ones that stop to think about what might be next for us. So,
So it's a mix of observation and awareness, and then
trial and error.
Trial and error. And how do you see invention versus innovation? Because innovation, in my mind, has a lower barrier than invention. Invention's all new and may or may not be useful. Innovation is building on something that has proven useful in some way.
Well, yeah, they're kind of similar, the way that you said it. I feel like innovation is almost like a breakthrough in a different perspective. Sometimes invention might be isolated to something a little bit more specific. But in innovation, like if you take a cell phone, is a cell phone an invention or an innovation? A smartphone. What do you think, Nick?
I think it's more innovation than invention, but some of the technology that enables it is an invention. So it's kind of like repurposing something or finding a new utility is my view of innovation. But it's a blurred line between.
Yeah.
I think understanding the differences can make it easier to think about things and not always have to have quote unquote an invention and a patent around that.
Do you think that when the cell phone first was invented, the smartphone was invented, or when it came out, do you think that it started off as an invention and then moved to an innovation, or was it strictly an innovation?
No, it was an invention when it first came out. The whole wireless thing versus the, I can still remember dialing on a rotary dial. So
Right.
I couldn't tell you the number, but I could dial it. Right? We all fall into that. But
Good stuff.
yeah, it's a blurred line, but I think understanding those differences can also help one look at things in different perspectives.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good thought. We should open it up and hear what other people have to say also in the comments.
Yeah,
Do you tell me what the difference, or what do you think the difference is between invention and innovation? Let's start that chat. And by the way, I might be giving some patent information, maybe some trademark information. I'm only talking from my opinion and my experience. I'm not an attorney, a patent attorney or agent, so I'll do the best I can to answer, but you should always consult with somebody to confirm what you hear. So a design patent, Chris, we said was ornamental, and a utility patent is more of like the functionality. It's like what it works, how it works, what it looks like, and kind of the functionality, the twists and turns and gears. But the ornamental, the design pattern is really just about how it looks. So Knowlton, by the way, you're not a quack. Okay, you have over 60 years track record, successful inventions in manufacturing. Does that deserve a phone call from NSF? I made 2 runs at them and 1 at the Army X Prize. Knowlton, there is a marketing organization that works with kind of things for the environment, to benefit the environment, waterways. I had some lady who has an invention on stopping water or shore erosion. I have somebody else that has a way to generate sandbags much quicker, or to fill them up much quicker. It's a company called Erdic Works, ERD, Erdic works. They came on National Inventor Club a couple times in the beginning, and they actually are the marketing organization for the Army and for government agencies, and they kind of put all the grants and things that they're looking for in there. So it could kind of be interesting. It could be something good for you, Knowlton, to they have information of what they're looking for, and then how you can submit your idea and see if it's something that they might be interested in. So give it a shot. What else? Let's see. So hi, Carolyn. Why do they keep changing? I think that they want to make sure that you. So basically, in a way, they give you the rights for 20 years to say that you're the owner. You're the kind of, you have the monopoly on your patent. And I think that for you to have that kind of monopoly, they want to know that you're using it, because if you're not using it, maybe you're holding it up for somebody else to use it. That's what I think. So I think that's why they probably charge a little bit more. If you're in business, you know, if you're using your patent and you're about 11 or whatever it is years in, either you've done something with it, or just abandon it or let it go so somebody else maybe can bring it into the market and start selling it, because you might be holding it up. That's what I think. Just my opinion. Have I ever appealed a rejection? Plenty of times. Most of the time, Rob, when you file a utility patent. So just to start with, if you come up with an idea and there's some functionality to it, it's how it works, how it twists and turns and gears, and a little bit more something that you need to explain than just how it looks, then you can file a provisional patent application. And what that does is that gives you the right for 1 year to say that you're patent pending. And while you're patent pending, you can explore the market. So you can while you're patent pending, right? You file that provisional patent application. That's not a patent. It's just a filing date. You file that. You have a year to kind of talk about your idea without being too concerned. In my opinion, it's almost like an NDA. Nobody really knows what you filed. So in my opinion, don't show anybody your provisional patent application. And you just kind of explore the market. Then before that year is done, you would file a non-provisional patent application. Most of the time, Rob, when you file that, you're going to have to wait maybe 18 months to 30 months. Has been the kind of going rate there. If you're a senior, you can pay for fast track. If you're there's some other criteria if you want to try to get fast track, which costs a little bit more money. But you know, if you want to wait, you wait. You're always patent pending when you file. And I could say, Rob, every single time there's been objections or rejections. So I'll put like 25 claims in, and practically half or all, or maybe a few are remaining without any rejections. And then the patent examiner is looking at it in a certain way, and you need to overcome that. And the patent attorneys or agents, kind of, that's what they do for a living. So I leave it to them, and we talk about it, and we say, what exactly did they do here? Or what are they thinking? What are they comparing it to? So we can clear it up. And they could say, all right, you know what? Based on what you just explained to me, I'll let it go. But then sometimes they don't. And then by the time you're done, you started off with 25 claims, and you might be left with 2. So now your patent goes through, you're excited, but you don't have that grade of protection on it. It's just for something, maybe only a few parts of your invention. So you want to try to get as many claims as you can. But I could say that plenty of times, I mean, 15 times I got through the objections or rejections. Design patents are a lot easier. Most of the time there's no objections or rejections. They kind of let it through because it's ornamental. But yeah, I kind of count on my patent attorney or agent to get me through what it is. Sometimes, Rob, let's say you might be doing it pro se, which means on your own, or you might be going through and this examiner is giving you a hard time, you and your patent representative, and you're like, you know what? I want to take this to a different level. I want to speak to somebody else at the patent office. So they have a pro bono program, and they have a division called the PT. It's the PTAB. It's the Patent Trial and Appeal Board. And what you could do is you can set up a hearing to say, listen, I'm trying to get this through. After 2 rejections for what I'm trying to get through, you have the right to go into this hearing. And they even have a pro bono PTAB where you can have a representative that you don't have to pay for to help you through this hearing.
Yeah,
And
that's what I was talking about, is the
Yeah.
PTAB.
the PTAB.
So let me tell you the story. Back in 2016, we filed a patent for treating diabetes, and the examiner created 2 divisional patents out of that. So we got 3 divisionals. So we got the original patent, we got the first divisional, and the second divisional, the patent examiner rejected. So we're going before PTAB, and that's what I'm asking. Have you ever been before PTAB, and what was it like?
I've visited the hearing rooms, and I've met plenty of the judges, but I haven't had to experience it. If you wanted to take a look at some of the hearings, they're actually public. If you wanted to watch the streamings to see what the experience is like to be in the hearing rooms, you could before you enter, if that helps.
Yeah, well, I'm not particularly worried about it, because from what my attorney says, it's going to be a good 18 months away if anything happens. So we're close to filing the notice of appeal, and then that starts another clock ticking, and we've got to wait for that time period.
In the meantime, you're still patent pending, but your patent attorney is probably going to want to challenge the time that you have to wait for this hearing, should you win, of all the time that because typically the clock starts when you file.
Right.
So if it takes 4 years to get a patent, now you're only going to have 14 years. What did I say? 4 years or 6 years? 4 years to get a patent. You have 16 years left, and it's supposed to be 20. Right? So maybe they tack on a couple extra years because of the time that you had to wait. I'm not sure. Well,
Okay.
good luck. Good luck.
All right, thanks.
Keep us posted.
Thanks.
No problem. What other questions do we have? Barb, you had another question I see here, so let's get you up here for a minute. Okay. So Barb, you were talking about trade shows?
Yes.
I love trade shows.
Okay.
Trade show changed my life. I was at a point where I wanted to manufacture things, and then I kind of bounced to, you know what? I keep coming up with ideas. I'm doing a bunch of things. I'm doing all kinds of consulting, business stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe licensing is the way. But you know what? Maybe manufacturing. So I started to go to the trade shows, and I got a hit. I ended up meeting a buyer from QVC, and she was intrigued with some of my products. And if you're going to be on QVC, you got to manufacture your product, right? So I manufactured my product, and I started to get good activity on it. I was on for almost 3 years on QVC. And then I started to have companies that were interested in licensing it, because I was just on QVC all the time and I didn't have retail. So I made a deal to manufacture it, let them manufacture it, and they could distribute non-QVC. So I licensed products in that way. And the point I was going to make with trade shows is now I go back to trade shows and I bring products of my own and other inventors to try to license to earn royalties. So I before I go to a trade show, first you want to make sure that you're going to the right trade show. If you have a automotive tool, you're not going to the houseware show, right? So that's one thing. And then when you get there, before you get there, you look and you plan. You look at the exhibitor list. You go into the stores that you envision your product in, and you see which companies are there. And those might be the ones that are the players in the industry. There's a lot of mini players and level B, C, and D players, but level A players are the ones that I like to connect with. So what's the reason why you're going to a trade show, Barb? Is it to license to earn royalties, maybe to go and maybe set up appointments before you go to the trade show, meet with those companies, show them the product in person, see if they're interested in manufacturing and distributing and you earning a royalty? Or is it you manufacturing and having that one product, or maybe you build a brand, but let's say as an inventor, we have that one product we're starting with, and now we're at the trade show. What do? Do we pay for a booth? Are we in the main stage, the main exhibitor area? Are we in kind of the inventor area? Who's coming to see us there? Who's going to see us in the main stage area? For the most part, Barb, if you're going to exhibit, most of the time, it's going to be buyers that already have appointments with those exhibitors. So when you're going to try to license it, they're like, listen, Brian, I got Walmart coming to my booth in 2 minutes. Like, make it quick or come back afterwards. So realistically, exhibitors, companies that are players in the industry are going to a trade show to show off the latest things. So when a buyer comes to them and they go, hey, I'm Mr. and Mrs. Walmart, show us what you got new this year. So it's a place where companies, exhibitors launch new products, talk about the latest things that are happening in their company with the buyers, and keep it fresh and keep it new. So what's interesting about that is that sometimes I catch these companies that didn't really put anything new out. So the buyers come to them and like, oh, you don't have anything new. All right, I'll just keep ordering the same old thing, or maybe I'll run into something that's fresh and new, and you might lose the business. So there's companies that are interested in looking at your patent or your intellectual property or your invention, and then some of them have a full plate. Look, we just brought out 3 new products. We got to focus on this. So we think your product's interesting, but come back next year or come back at a later time because we're in the middle of launching these. So it's all about timing. But there couldn't be a better opportunity to get into your industry that you've invented in by going to an industry trade show. If you look around, Barb, instead of going from California to New York to Missouri to Texas to Washington State, everybody's in one place. All you have to do is fly to one place and everybody is there. So that's what I love, is that I can almost knock on doors like I'm going trick-or-treating instead of flying and traveling, how long that would take and expenses to just put it in one place. So I didn't read your whole question. I'm not sure if I answered it. If you were considering being an exhibitor, if you're looking to license, I'm sorry. I just kind of.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just wondering do people like give you their feedback on your product? Whether, if you decide to manufacture it on your own, do they take the time to look at new products and judge it?
It depends on if they're busy or not. Yeah. If there's nobody at the trade show or it's a quiet time and they have time, yeah, let me see what you got. But what's the purpose? Is it you're going to manufacture it and you're going to be competing against them? Or is it something that you want to work with them and your product aligns nicely with their product line to see if it's something that you may potentially license to them?
Okay.
Yeah. But look, when somebody's in front of you, Barb, and they ask you what you think, or what do you think of my idea? If they say that it sucks right in front of you, like is that something that
I want to hear that? I want to hear why. Oh, why wouldn't they use it? Why don't they want it? I mean, yeah, I want to hear the good, bad, and the ugly. So
I know, but they might get a right hook. So maybe they'll just say, you know what, it's not for us. I'm not interested. Politely. Some of them will say, no, I don't think so. I'm not sure if that's something in the market. I can't talk for other people in that way. I could just say that I've seen people give feedback right away. For me, Barb, kind of being this inventor coach for all these years, I see a lot of ideas and I have to be polite when I see something that may not necessarily make it in the market. Or
Mhm.
just from my perspective, who am I to say that though? Because somebody can come up with a pet rock and we would think that they're crazy. But look at how many people bought a pet rock. So
Right.
who are we to judge?
Right.
Who is this one person who's never sold this product that you came up with or idea to tell you that that's the chosen answer? It doesn't work like that.
Mhm.
So there's ways to figure out if it's something that you should work on or not. Get people's feedback in the industry. Get, I mean, friends and family. I know who to ask because I know who's brutally honest.
Right.
You know, I'll give them a prototype to test and try out and see if it's something that they like. I like to give somebody a prototype and say, here, this is for this. Let me see you use it and tell me what you think. And I
Okay.
look at their reactions because if they're like, oh, it's so great. Well, yeah, I know you're full of crap, right? Or if they go, you know what, wow, I really like this.
Mhm.
Well, that's I'm having a flashback of my paper towel topper. Like I'm like, hey, let me see the top of your paper towel roll. Yeah, that's what it looks like, right? What if it just stayed like this? Well, how are you going to do that? Well, every paper towel roll has that inner tube.
Mhm.
It has to go on a stand, so I just needed to make it fit into the inner tube of any paper towel roll. And now when your hands are wet or dirty, stays clean and dry.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, I hate when the paper towels are dirty on top. I can't believe this. I was just thinking about that. It's in my bathroom, it's in my kitchen, it's here and there. That I'm like, I think I got something here. So you got to just kind of experiment. One of our sponsors is PickFu. I love these online survey. Like, how good is it to be able to put up some questions, show what it is that you want, whether it's blue or black or green, different
Mhm.
colors, or just the functionality and the purpose. Hey, would you use this? How much would you pay? What's the most that you would pay? You know, where could you see this product being sold? And these people, you'll never know who they are.
Right.
You won't know who you are. Maybe if your product ends up coming to market, but they'll give you feedback, and they get paid for their query or whatever. But they're giving you brutally honest feedback, and then you can see, like, would you buy it? Would you not buy it? All of a sudden, you see 80% buy and 20% not buy. All right, maybe I have something there. You know, do I want it in green or clear or pink or purple? Well, I came up with clear. You know why? Because if I made pink, it might not match your decor in your kitchen. If I came up with blue, it's cute, but I just said, let me just keep it clear because you might have a metal stand, you know, chrome or whatever. So that's how I mean, I kind of make decisions from a marketing perspective, but I also get other people's opinions that don't necessarily have a tie to me to tell me if my idea sucks or it's great, because there's only so much you could do when you're in person. I give you one more example, which was kind of interesting. Is back in the day, I had these trademarks, the emoticons and acronyms that the kids used on for the cell phones, right? For text message, LOL, TTYL, SUP, right? So I trademarked them outside of computers and cell phones, and I built a brand out of it. But I needed to know which was the most popular ones, if they would use it, the different designs that I had. So I made this like homemade, like I printed out pages and I made copies of it and I stapled it, and I went to Barnes and Noble Cafe and I gave it to the teens and tweens that would be using that would maybe be wearing my apparel and all that stuff. And I took my surveys that way. I gave them a $10 gift card to the Barnes and Noble Cafe for taking the survey. And I was able to build a brand from it because I got straight up feedback from all these kids. So
Cool.
you can do it digital. It's very
Yeah.
easy. You pay $1 per, and you don't have to worry about giving them gift cards and seeing you and you seeing them. You just get straight up feedback, and these people sign a non-disclosure agreement, so you know that somewhat you don't have to worry about it. But it's interesting. There's a lot of different ways to get feedback, but
Yeah.
you know, and even from the buyers, like I've pitched buyers, and they're like, you know what, Brian, I like this, but if you had this on it, or if you did this to it, then I would order it. I'm like, okay, I'll do whatever you tell me. So I did. And now I have 1,000 units sitting in my garage. I'm only kidding. Not. So, no, it's a journey. You got to take people's feedback and advice, and you got to be flexible when people are asking you, giving you their opinion, feedback, and it's up to you to gauge how much to listen to it or not.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. All right. Let's see if there's any other questions. I'm just getting back into this thing here. All right. Jordan, how you doing, Jordan? Is it better to, on a utility patent, be specific on your utility up to the file date or broad as you're changing the prototype? Let's see. Let's get Jordan up. What's up, Jordan?
Hey, how you doing?
You're at the playground.
Yeah, I'm with my kids.
That's awesome. All right. I just might have to mute you, though, but
Okay.
just a second. Okay. So, it's an interesting question. If you're going to do a provisional patent application, it's good to keep it broad, because during the time that you're making prototypes, maybe like Barb and I were talking about getting feedback, sometimes things might change. So if you filed the utility patent already, the non-provisional patent application with all the claims in it, that's already filed. So it's more of a headache to try to fix things up or add things, a continuation to what you do, than while you're exploring it in the provisional patent application stage. So I keep it broad. You don't have to be specific. You want to just kind of cover it. And as you're navigating through getting opinion, feedback, advice, making a prototype, it was supposed to work this way, but it turned into this. You know what I mean? So I'm glad I didn't file, because now it's this. And either you can refile a new provisional patent application, and that filing date, take care, Nick, filing date starts, or you keep it going. But before you file the non-provisional, you could take the pieces from the provisional and continue it. Okay. So into the non-provisional. So I like to keep it broad in the provisional. The design patent that we spoke about, that really is, again, it's ornamental. It's not as expensive as a non-provisional patent application, otherwise known as a utility patent, right? When you hear non-provisional, that means that it was a provisional. Now you're turning it into a non-provisional, otherwise known as a utility patent. So that's more expensive. So if I do a design patent and I change it enough that I have to redo it again, I'll redo it again. A utility patent's a little bit more expensive because you have all the claims in it. So you want to keep it broad, and then when you file the non-provisional, that's when you can bring all that stuff in and get a little bit tighter on what you're trying to protect. Does that make sense? Oh, I'm
That's
sorry.
really good. Oh,
Good.
Yeah, I guess so. As far as timing, how long do you have till that filing is set? Because I know there's like a time frame for the utility patent.
Yeah. So I think when you're talking about the provisional patent application to the non-provisional, you need to file the non-provisional within the year. So typically, if you're going to have somebody work with you, a patent attorney or agent work with you, probably around the 8th or 9th month is when you're probably going to want to start working on your non-provisional patent application, getting deeper into the meets and bounds, what I call it, like if you own real estate, like your territory line of what you're going to protect that you want to call your own. And it's really interesting. Like if you haven't had a chance to look at a patent, a utility patent, you should try, like, just take a look at, put in something in uspto.gov and do a patent search and dig in. Or you could do patents.google.com and just put something in and look at a patent and see how it's created. Like all the summary and the description and the reason why this invention is about, and then all the claims to it and the drawings, and all the citations. It's like when you come up with something and you get into the weeds a little bit and figure out, like, is this something that you could call your own, right? Comparing your idea to what's already existing. It's like oh my gosh, this looks similar, but it's not quite. But the claims look like they're pretty much the same thing as what I'm trying to do. Or maybe not. Maybe it's, you know what, it looks a little similar. Now you go into all the other citations, like the references of other patents. It'll never end because everyone requires new references. So you got to go from one to the next, and it never ends. But, you know, that's why I kind of pay for a patent agent or patent attorney to do a patent search for me with a patentability opinion. This way I can make a better decision, because as much as I do it, I just, it seems like everything starts to look the same. I want to know if there's an angle to try to be able to get a patent for myself. So it worked 15 times. All right, Jordan, I think we're good. It's 9 o'clock. Wherever you are, it's an hour since we started. This was an interesting format. I think it's good if people have questions and then I pull you in. That could be interesting to kind of answer your question, and then we have the chat going. We got through it. I hope I answered some of your questions. For those of you who are in the Inventor Smart Community app and you're a premium subscriber, you now have the chance to go to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. We got invited to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office next month, November 15th. November 14th, a lot of us are gonna roll into town. We're gonna have a meet and greet at a local restaurant bar area there. That should be a lot of fun. And then the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office has a full day of events for us, and it's going to be amazing. And we're all going to be able to meet each other, network. I have openings. Just put the notice out the other day. If you're a premium subscriber, then you're in the premium subscriber group, and the information is in there to be able to RSVP. We are doing premium subscribers first. Even if you're $9.99 a month, you can come. $99 for the year. I'm not here to give a whole promo thing, but membership subscription does have its privileges. So we hope that between supporting the community and getting the first right to join us at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, that could be a lot of fun. All right, and then the November 14th is my birthday, so what better way to spend it with everyone? So I don't know if my wife and daughter are too happy. Maybe, maybe not. But I'll get to spend it with you, whoever comes to the patent office. So that'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully, I could see you and meet you all there in person. All right. So have a great night. Thank you, Barb, for hanging out with me in the green room here. And for those of you who participated, have a great night and keep making your inventions a reality. Get the information you need. Do your due diligence. Stick with us in the community. I'll make sure to always do my best to get answers from the experts, or as much as I can to help you. I wish you all the best. Thank you, Chris. I have 1 year till my birthday. So that'll be, hopefully I'll celebrate it with you if you can come to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. In the app, there is a premium subscriber group. And if you're a premium subscriber, you have access to that. And that's where the information is to RSVP to come to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office in Alexandria, Virginia. We have flight information. There are hotels if you're staying over. If it's a car ride for you, then just come in the morning. We're going to have a full day event. So hopefully I'll be able to see you all there. Thank you. Where is it, Chris? It's in Alexandria, Virginia. It's about 5 miles from the Reagan International Airport. And it's going to be amazing. It'll be fun. I'm staying at the Westin in Old Town Alexandria, something like that. I'm rolling in on November 14th, and we have a full event on November 15th. So hopefully you can join. Last year we had people from Alaska and Washington State and all over the place. So hopefully you can join us. It's on a Thursday night, if you can join the Thursday night, but it's a Friday. And then on Monday is Martin Luther King Day. So hopefully wherever you work, Friday might be a little bit lighter before a long holiday weekend. So that's why we kind of picked that date to make it easy for everybody. So hopefully we can see you, especially you, Chris. I don't know if that's a thumbs up and that you're coming. We'll see. So we'll keep in touch. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great night. See you again soon. All right. Bye-bye.